There's something about a town that looks like it shouldn't exist. When I first stepped into the world of Under Salt Marsh, I didn't just see a murder mystery. I saw a place that feels like it's waiting to be swallowed whole. And honestly, that might be the most terrifying part of this entire story. Before we begin, would you please support me? Subscribing is free and very important to me. Please subscribe for better analysis and more videos. Morfa Halen is fictional, but it doesn't feel fictional. It's slick, it's soaked, it's unstable. If too much rain falls, and this is Wales, so too much rain is practically guaranteed the tides rise. And when the tides rise, the town disappears beneath water and mud. Low, bruised clouds hang heavy over painted stone houses. The marshland stretches endlessly, breathing salt and decay. It feels like nature is licking its lips, waiting for the right moment to consume everything. And in the middle of that suffocating landscape, a body is found. A young boy, Cefin. He's discovered drowned in a drainage ditch by Jackie Ellis, a former detective turned local elementary school teacher, played by Reilly. But here's where it gets unsettling. The water in his lungs is fresh. The environment around him is saltwater marsh. That detail changes everything, because that means he didn't just wander into the wrong place. He was placed there. And as always with stories like this, one question drives the entire narrative: who did it? Let me be honest for a second. Truly gripping British crime dramas have become harder to find lately. Streaming platforms are flooded with formulaic thrillers. Netflix pushes out polished but predictable adaptations. ITV churns out detective series where two emotionally exhausted officers stare dramatically over cliffs while wrestling with personal demons. The problem isn't effort, it's sameness. Atmospheric countryside, overworked investigators, a brooding tone. You've seen it before, but Under Salt Marsh does something different, and I didn't expect that. Created by Claire Oakley, this isn't a high-speed adrenaline ride. It's patient, controlled. It trusts its audience. The story unfolds carefully, demanding the same attention from the viewer. This isn't a show you half-watch while scrolling your phone. If you try, you'll miss something important. And that's a rare thing today. The pacing is deliberate, almost surgical. Every conversation feels loaded. Every silence lingers just long enough to create discomfort. Instead of constant twists, the tension simmers beneath the surface like rising groundwater. Jackie Ellis is at the heart of it all. She's not your typical detective hero. She's flawed, complicated, haunted. We learn that a year earlier, her nephew died under eerily similar circumstances. And for reasons not fully revealed in the opening episodes, she was forced to leave the police force. That kind of backstory isn't decoration. It's fuel, because even though she's now teaching children, the detective inside her hasn't disappeared. You see it in the way she asks questions, in the way she walks the marshland wearing an oversized parka, studying the mud like it might speak back. There's something slightly off about her behavior. Not unstable, just relentless. She can't let it go, and maybe she shouldn't. The murder investigation isn't the only pressure building. The town itself feels claustrophobic. The locals carry secrets like second skin. The pub owner's son, Ocean, played by Julian Lewis-Jones, is unwell and disheveled, obsessed with the idea that the town has been poisoned. Everyone dismisses him as paranoid, but in stories like this, paranoia often hides truth. There's also Spider Island, a nearby settlement where residents claim to live in harmony with the earth. But even they are fighting against the encroaching saltwater that's slowly consuming their land. And here's what I love about this setup. The setting isn't background, it's a character. The marshland is watching. The storm clouds gathering overhead feel symbolic. There's an approaching storm hinted throughout the series, one that could literally drown the town. That looming natural disaster adds a layer of urgency that elevates the entire narrative. Because time isn't just ticking toward solving a murder, time is ticking toward annihilation. Over 6 weekly episodes released throughout February, the show builds methodically. And for the first time in a while, I find myself genuinely eager to see what happens next. Will Jackie uncover the killer? Is the same person responsible for her nephew's death? Is Ocean completely delusional? Or is he the only one seeing something everyone else refuses to acknowledge? And perhaps the most pressing question of all, will any of this be resolved before the marsh swallows Morfa Halen whole? Kelly Reilly leads the series, and many viewers know her from Yellowstone, where she plays the ruthless Beth Dutton. But this role feels different, more internal, more restrained. There's steel in Jackie, but it's buried under grief and guilt. And if you've seen Reilly in ITV's Above Suspicion as Detective Anna Travis, you know she understands this genre. She doesn't overplay emotion. She lets it simmer. She's joined by Rafe Spall, known from Trying and The War of the Worlds, playing Detective Eric Bull. Their dynamic is layered. There's professional tension. There's history implied but not fully explained. Every exchange between them feels like a chess match. Under Salt Marsh isn't flashy. It doesn't rely on shock twists every 10 minutes. It builds atmosphere the old-fashioned way, through character, through place, through unanswered questions that echo long after the credits roll, and that's why it stands out. In an era of disposable crime dramas, this one feels intentional. It respects the audience. It respects the silence. And it understands that sometimes the most terrifying thing isn't the killer, it's the environment that allows secrets to thrive. If you're looking for a crime thriller that trusts you to pay attention, that rewards patience instead of demanding constant distraction, this might be the one. But I want to hear from you. Do you think the freshwater detail points to something bigger? Do you trust Ocean's warnings? And do you believe Jackie is chasing justice or redemption? Under Salt Marsh is unfolding weekly throughout February. And for the first time in a long time, I'm not just watching, I'm waiting. Thanks for watching. Share your thoughts in the comments. This is where these kinds of films come to life. Until the next story, stay curious, be critical, keep your eyes on the screen, and remember, every film you haven't seen is a new film.